Uh-huh.
But do you prefer in English or in Spanish?
My presentation is going to be in English, but I speak both.
Okay, okay. So, no problem.
So, hold on a sec, please. Okay, I'm ready.
Okay, you can start.
Mm-hmm. Hello, everyone. It's a pleasure to be here. I'm Cynthia Villagómez from the University of Guanajuato, Mexico. I'm going to speak about electronic cosmogony. And well, the introduction first. The work of Mexican electronic artists in recent decades has contributed to the understanding of art from another dimension, involving different communities in the studied cases. Not just art, uh, audiences who visit various exhibition spaces. In the analyzed cases of electronic artworks, there is not only a collective effort but also an intention to revisit and reinterpret the ancestral cosmogony of pre-Hispanic Mexico, especially on topics related to the environment, which invariably concern and interest today's society. The topics addressed in these works include an electronic garment mounted on a traditional otomi genetically modified maize, and the Nahuatl vision of maize as an essential aspect of pre-Columbian culture, the Enican fibers of the Maya people, and the sacred sites of the Huichol indigenous people in Mexico. All these works are enriched by the philosophy of the original peoples, whose principles and relationships with contemporary Mexico are mentioned through electronic art in this research. Some of the methods that I used were case of study method, ethnographic techniques, interpretive analysis, literature review and contextualization, community and artist collaboration. The first artwork is in Amekuta by Marcena Armas from 2016, which is a multimedia project that explores the devastation caused by mining on Cerro del Fraile, a sacred site for the Wixárika people. Marcela Armas uses tools like the chromagnetometer and traditional Wixárika beadwork to interpret the magnificent field of pyrrhotite, a mineral linked to the mountain's spiritual significance. The work includes video art, soundscapes of hypnotic ritual chants, and symbolic objects like a 3D magnetic map. The installation creates an intimate space where viewers are invited to reflect on the environmental and cultural impacts of extractivism. The dim lighting, ritualistic audio, and large format video projection evoke tranquility and contemplation, fostering emotional connections with the audience. The other artwork is Yucatec made by hands by Amor Muñoz, which combines Maya textile traditions with solar technology to address community needs. Amor Muñoz collaborated with Maya women in Cizal, Yucatan, which is in the south of Mexico, teaching them how to create solar-powered devices using Enekin fibers and photovoltaic cells. The resulting pieces include sandals, hats, and bags with LED lights, blending ancestral craftsmanship with modern technology. The project highlights the importance of reciprocity and the respecting cross-cultural collaborations, as well as the resilience of Maya communities. By integrating Sorry, by integrating traditional practices with sustainable solutions, the artwork emphasized the continuity of indigenous knowledge in contemporary contexts. The other artwork is We Build a Fence by Daris Rubio. It's an electronic garment mounted on a traditional otomi huipil designed to respond to stress signals from the weather. When the heart rate increases, the system hires audio and visual alerts, encouraging relaxation. Darius Rubio, a descendant of the Otomi culture, created this piece to preserve and honor her heritage while addressing issues like cultural appropriation and the violence context that we live in these days. The artwork reflects the Otomi worldview, emphasizing the importance of understanding the symbolism and cultural significance of indigenous clothing by combining traditional embroidery with modern technology. Rubio connects ancestral customs with contemporary social concerns, fostering awareness and respect for indigenous traditions. Quetzalcoatl by Fernando Palma is a mixed media installation representing the feathered serpent deity from Nahuatl cosmology. Fernando Palma uses materials like cardboard, maize cobs, and dried leaves harvested from his land in Milpa Alta to critique the environmental and cultural impacts of modern society. The erratic movements of the serpent symbolize energy waste and the loss of traditional agricultural practices due to genetically modified crops. The artwork addresses Mexico's dependence on imported maize and the threat to native corn varieties, highlighting the unsustainable exploitation of natural resources. Through this piece, Palma underscores the deep spiritual connection between the Nahuatl people and their environment, calling for reflection on environmental and cultural preservation. The results, briefly of course, are Mexican electronic artists incorporate indigenous cosmology and knowledge into their works, either because they belong to indigenous communities or align with the specific ethnic groups. Four main artworks by Mexican electronic artists are analyzed, most created by female artists connected to indigenous communities. These works are sometimes interactive, sometimes created collectively with indigenous groups, often take a critical stance on environmental issues. The research examines how national identity is expressed through emotional connections between the audience, artworks, and ancestral cultures. The research emphasizes how these artworks create emotional connections with audiences through local cultural elements and ancestral knowledge. The artworks analyzed in the study foster emotional engagement by incorporating ancestral knowledge and local cultural elements. For instance, Marcela Armas in Amekuta uses Wixárika cosmology and rituals to evoke tranquility and introspection in the audience. Similarly, Amor Muñoz with Yucatec integrates Maya textile traditions with solar technology, creating pieces that resonate with both the artisans and viewers. These works often require active participation, such as touching, observing, or observing closely, which bridges the gap between the artwork and the audience. By drawing on shared cultural heritage, these artists create intimate experiences that elicit autobiographical memories, making their messages more impactful. It highlights the resilience of indigenous cultures in Mexico and how contemporary electronic art can help preserve and showcase these traditions while addressing modern issues like environmental concerns and cultural appropriation. The study underscores the resilience of Mexico's indigenous groups who have preserved their traditions despite centuries of colonization, exploitation, and marginalization. Artworks like Darius Rubio's We Build Defense and Fernando Palma's Quetzalcoatl celebrate this endurance by highlighting Otomi embroidery and Nahuatl cosmogony, respectively. These pieces not only honor ancestral practices but also address modern challenges such as cultural appropriation and environmental degradation. By blending traditional symbols with contemporary mediums, electronic art becomes a tool for cultural preservation and empowerment, ensuring that indigenous voices remain relevant in today's globalized world. The study shows how Mexican electronic artists use technology to link pre-Hispanic knowledge with current environmental and social issues, creating powerful messages about cultural heritage and contemporary challenges. Mexican electronic artists use technology to merge ancient wisdom with current social and environmental concerns. For example, Sinamekuta critiques extractivism through the lens of Wixárika reverence for nature, while Quetzalcoatl comments on maize imports and GMO crops through nature can offer solutions to modern crises. By integrating obsolete technologies, handmade crafts, and digital innovation, these artists craft powerful narratives that challenge societal norms and inspire reflection of humanity's relationship with the environment and cultural heritage. Part of the conclusions are a review has been conducted on the realm of contemporary art as well as electronic art, which in Mexico is often focused on local cultures. Additionally, relevant aspects of ancient Mexican cultures and their connection to technology based art have been mentioned. We have then gone on to analyze several works of Mexican electronic art that their ties and their ties to ancestral roots. Briefly, the importance of understanding emotions for effective communication of messages conveyed in electronic art has also been emphasized. A brief overview has been provided of the economic, political, and social circumstances that have influenced contemporary art, including the rejection of foreign stereotypes and the growing importance of local culture in art. These factors illustrate its use as a resource in the creation of artworks that respond to local needs. With this reflection in mind, the present research has directed towards the search for Mexican electronic art that aligns with these principles. The research identified various artistic proposals that draw from pre-Columbian Mexican cultures as a means to communicate environmental and social concerns, therefore establishing and showcasing the connections between art utilizing technology in recent decades and the significance of pre-Columbian Mexican cultures as well as the representation of national identity in electronic art has been an integral part of this research. Furthermore, the richness of the national culture encompassing a wide diversity of indigenous cultures has allowed electronic artists to approach their creative processes from the various perspectives that their cultures have provided. On one hand, these are works that draw from the ancient Mexicans' respect for nature, emphasizing the importance of plants like maize or henequen as foundational elements in cultures such as the Nahua or Maya. This includes the traditional Otomi garment as a defense against adverse environments and the values of respect for the environment found in the Wixárika and other ancestral peoples. The artworks and artistic developments discussed here are evidence of the countless possibilities within indigenous cosmology and its relationship with environmental aspects as inexhaustible sources of creativity and as a means of subsistence in the face of climate emergencies. Both serve as viable ways to establish emotional connections between the artist and the audience of the works. It's clear that in pre-Columbian Mexico and even within the indigenous cultures that have persisted to this day, there was a deep respect and reverence for the natural environment. For these groups, objects, animals, plants, celestial bodies, and human coexisted with equal significance in harmony. In this mindset have been If this mindset had been carried forward to the present day, it might have helped mitigate to some extent the environmental catastrophe facing us at both the national and global levels. Undoubtedly, it is encouraging and commendable to witness the efforts of electronic artists to promote these ancestral principles of life. They seek to convey a message of preserving indigenous traditions and the care of and conservation of the environment through elements that contribute to the identity of Mexicans. These efforts not only celebrate and pay homage to indigenous cultures, but also advocate for a more sustainable and environmentally conscious society. Finally, reflection on diverse ways of thinking is necessary, and it's valid to contribute to raising awareness about significant collective issues through art, such as preservation of the cultures of the indigenous peoples of these lands and the environment, as these artists analyzed in this research do. The ancient Mexicans believed in eras or suns, where a new era brought a fresh beginning with new gods, essentially a new humanity. Perhaps this could be the start of that moment, and we may be on the cusp of a time of change, a return to our roots, and a heightened social awareness about the essential balance that must prevail on the planet. For within this balance lies the existence of all living beings and the future generations to come. For your attention, thank you very much.
What do you think that?
Cool. Okay, I think putting in the as I can see, we are only the last table here present, so I will invite the two of the speakers in the beginning for start the questions to the public, interchange, and Cynthia, of course, online. So please, if anybody have questions, please, for the three of the.
Cynthia,
Yes,
do you hear well?
Yeah. So if anybody of you have a question for the speaker, please, we appreciate. We have, okay, please.
Eh, Tú hablas de una cosmovisión andina para los y dentro de esa cosmovisión, pues pensando en el contexto actual, el rol de la inteligencia artificial en el diseño de la interacción. Incluso hay casos en Latinoamérica y en el mundo en el cual pues está una inteligencia artificial que acompaña al visitante y que les quiere recurrir. ¿Cómo consideras que se podría pensar desde la clave de una cosmovisión andina el uso de la inteligencia artificial para el diseño de la experiencia turística?
Ok. Entendí algo se escucha un poco lejana el audio, pero entendí cuál es mi perspectiva del uso de la inteligencia artificial en la cosmovisión.
Ya. No. Esa pregunta era para otra de las que presento ahora.
Perfecto, me espero.
Para que escuches tu pregunta cuando sea tu turno.
Perfecto, muy bien. Perfecto, gracias.
Okay.
De investigación, ¿cómo piensas que el concepto emergente de la computación va a influenciar la práctica de los artistas pues a lo que nos mostrabas con los ejemplos que traías a la presentación?
El concepto de, ¿qué? Perdón, no escuché esa parte.
Computación indígena.
Conmutación, ¿qué? Perdón.
Indígena.
Computación indígena. Bueno, es que es muy relativo. En México tenemos 68 diferentes grupos indígenas y los artistas mexicanos se han abocado apenas a un pequeño segmento. Entonces, ciertamente hasta el momento de lo que he analizado, los trabajos que he analizado donde combinan las culturas indígenas y el arte electrónico, no interviene la computación. Hay un respeto como a las tradiciones y sí que hay una combinación tecnológica junto con sus usos y costumbres, por ejemplo, en el caso del bordado, en el caso del enequén, la factura, la manera en cómo trabajan el enequén, pero no hay una intervención de las computadoras como tales dentro de estas obras. Em, si nos ponemos en un escenario especulativo, digamos, pues podríamos pensar que la computadora y sobre todo el acceso de las comunidades indígenas al Internet va a fructificar en avances también para las propias comunidades. Pensemos, estoy pensando en el 94. En el año 94 tuvimos un lanzamiento, la Revolución Zapatista en México, y ahí el papel de las computadoras y de la gráfica zapatista fue crucial para la difusión a nivel mundial de la revolución, de este movimiento zapatista, del movimiento armado en Chiapas. Así que en algún momento el acceso tiene que ser general, en la actualidad no lo es, y básicamente yo lo vería de una manera muy positiva, porque será una manera de integrar a las comunidades indígenas al escenario mundial en un escenario, si lo pensamos utópico, podría ser muy positivo para el avance de las mismas y para la difusión de sus usos y costumbres, de precisamente su integración al ámbito tecnológico y científico, etcétera, ¿no? Gracias por tu pregunta.
Please.
You mentioned